and then I'm gonna get the music queued up. All right. It does. And then do I start on speaker? All right, bet.
Couldn't wait for it, running out of pain storage. We was made for it.
5 seconds, bro.
Couldn't wait for it, running out of pain storage.
Yes, indeed.
We was made for it. Now we getting paid for it.
We back with another episode of Live from the Den. Tonight, man, we got a cool special guy tonight, man, in here co-hosted with me. Shout out to Mr. Devontae Green, co-host of the Live from the Den. He'll be back soon, man. I know y'all miss his voice. But in the midst of it all, man, we here and we live, having a great time. Yes. So tonight with me, man, I got actually a special guest, one of the coolest guys, man. He actually is a member. He's a member of the Giants Den. Would love for y'all to hear his story, his perspective. I always say, like, I love his poise, I love his consistency, the way he shows up. He is what's your official title in marketing?
I'm a global product marketing manager.
Global product marketing manager. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bobby Gaffin. Go a little closer to the mic for me, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There we go.
Can you hear yourself really good?
Yeah, that's better.
That's what's up, man. And tonight, we're actually talking about acknowledging and identifying growth. And I think this is a real cool topic, and it stands out for me because when I have conversations, or we have conversations with other men, especially for men in the den,
right,
the theme for me is always this shift. At some point, you come to a realization of, like, man, I used to be this way, but now my efforts, my intentions are for some reason going another way. And sometimes that may feel uncomfortable, or like everybody identifies that in a different way. So I'm curious to, for one, let the people know a little bit about your journey, and then we'll definitely tie in this acknowledgement of, like, if there was a shift in your process, and what that was like. So first of all, man, just introduce yourself to the people.
Right, man. So my name is Bobby Gaffin. Marketing genius, as I like to call myself.
Oh man, talk to him.
Yeah, it's just really a field that I really like to delve into, man. It's like you're bringing um, the art and different forms of communication and personalities with people, and then marrying it with technology and data. So it's just a really interesting thing where it combines a little bit of finance, a little bit of art, a little bit of psychology, writing. So it has all these different fields in it, and it's kind of like the glue that holds businesses together, and it brings businesses to the people, in our different social structures. And so it's just always been a fascinating area to me. So when I was younger,
Mhm.
there was like a lot of tough times with the family, and money wasn't always there.
Right.
So I wasn't able to pursue. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
But,
No, you solid.
no, I wasn't able to pursue education how I wanted to, what I'm saying, when I was younger. And, I had to take a break from school. And I had a lot of friends that were into music, a lot of family members too. I'm
Okay.
saying? Like my mom is a gospel singer. I got a lot of, cousins that are into music, and a lot of friends,
Yeah. That's actually fire, bro. And I don't even mean to cut you off, but I feel like it's already tying in. So we talk about you being this marketing guru,
Mhm.
right, and being in the field, and you were able to identify the interest in it, and also, like, I'm pretty sure that there's a financial aspect to that too. That's satisfying as well. But that work, right? And you talk about your cousins, your mom being in the music. Those are two different fields. Those are two
Yeah.
different things. So if like how like what led you? I know you're telling a story.
Right.
into marketing? Like, what was the journey before you actually becoming a marketer in the field?
Well, it started with the music, man. Like
Okay.
in high school, me and my friends and my younger brother, we had like a rap crew, and we would, freestyle, go to parties, like battle people, and it was all in good fun, man. Something to do with your free time, you know what I'm saying? Something positive and constructive. And then, after high school, things got a little serious where it's like, oh man, come and record some songs, and it's like, oh man, this is fun. And then it's like, all right, well, you about to go to a big studio.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, there's a cost associated with this. So
Mm.
I kind of never really wanted to be a rapper, or to me, it was more like a hobby.
Right.
That's kind of why I do like spoken word poetry now from time to time.
Right.
But I was always more interested in the business side of things. So I was
Yes.
telling my friends, like, look, you guys do the music. I'll help promote you guys, help manage you guys, get you guys out there. And we had some successes, man. Like I had
Yeah.
some friends that were on every radio station in Southern California, from Power 106 to K Day, even
Oh
90,
yeah, y'all was out there.
99.1 in the IE,
Yeah.
so we
Shout
were,
out to the IE.
yeah, so we were moving, and getting things done,
Hmm.
but we didn't really have enough momentum to get over the hump. And at that point I started recognizing that my talent was um was something not to be wasted, and that I can achieve things on my own. I didn't need to link up with this producer or this rapper or this label or this singer or what have you. Like
Right.
I could just self-sustain off what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And so it's probably like around like my late 20s when I started formulating a plan, and just kind of life experiences, seeing that the tortoise beats the hare, right? Because the tortoise is determined, the tortoise is
Slow grind.
consistent. Yeah, so I came up with a plan to work my way into a level of financial stability where I could go back to school and really just learn marketing from the ground up.
Bro. And that's, first of all, kudos to you, and that's super dope, and that's phenomenal. Um, that's actually because, so when we doing live from the den too, we want to talk about these different experiences, these different
Right.
things that we went through and that we can grow from, right? And so with that, we want to also leave tools that we can have. And you mentioned something. You mentioned planning. Like, I
Hmm.
plan for it, and that's one of the tools that I have written down. Like,
Hmm.
journal leads to planning and strategy.
Yeah.
Would you consider that as being a shift in a part where you, okay, like, we doing this music, we got some momentum. I then identified, like, okay, this may not be the long play. Like, this was cool. I still mess with my family. Would that be like something that you identified that you would deem as like a pivot or shift?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because before in the music, even though it's legal, it's still that hustle mentality. And
Absolutely.
you're trying to find that quick come up. Like, okay, we could flip this. Okay, if we take this and do this, we go here and meet this person, then this might happen. And then you start realizing that, like, to reach success, you need a certain chain of flips or come ups or level ups to happen in rapid succession, and the likelihood of all of them happening is slim to none.
Hmm.
And it happens to some people, and we always hang on to those like those one-off stories, and make it seem like anyone can do it. And a lot of times in romanticizing it, we like take away from their grind and their struggle and their dedication and make it seem like it's wasn't that big of a deal, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can preach on that, and I think that we have those type of visualizations with a lot of industries,
Yeah.
where you will look at somebody and they reach a level of success, or they reach the pinnacle of their field. You like, man, it's cool to understand that, like, okay, that it is obtainable,
Right.
but we want to not recognize the work that was put
Exactly.
in. Rest in peace to Nip Hustle. He's all around in the studio, and I love his story because I actually bought a CD, like an actual, a compact disc from Nip
Hmm.
on Slauson and Crenshaw, trying to get a
Wow.
Master Burger. That's a funny story too, bro. Just real quick, I was just trying to this
I gotta hear that one.
man. Okay, this the later they said Master Burger is one of the best burgers in LA. Now I'm from Inglewood, and I try to move around, but I move around accordingly. Anyway, I go to Master Burger. Dude asked me, "Hey man, you want to buy a CD?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to buy no CD." And I wasn't aggressive, but I was just more so like, "I you ain't trying to buy your CD." I come outside. It's probably 30, 60 Crips outside. I bought two CDs, bro.
You
Bought
got
two of them
to,
things, and that
yeah.
was bullets that got no name on it, Dip Hustle. But I say that to say he was outside. He was grinding.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, here go Nip just popped up. He was doing this for 10 years and he was laying out a
Mhm.
blueprint. So when you talk about planning and strategy and all of those things, that's amazing. I want to
And,
ask you this.
and real quick, I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
touch on Nip too. Is like his passing touched me so deep, is because he came, from music, and he experienced all the success in music, successes that I wasn't able to experience,
Mm,
but he was still trying to build a pipeline from Silicon Valley, to South Central, and and,
100%.
and, and he was, had those different incubators and those spaces where he was working on creating different avenues and different outlets for people, to get out of their situation. And so it's like, man, it's something that's so necessary. And so for me to go into this tech space and be embraced, like it's not perfect, because nothing in life is perfect.
Right.
But for me to be able to be successful and have enough money to be straight, ability and freedom, all within the confines of a job.
Right.
I'm like, man, I need to get more brothers in here.
1000%, bro. And that leads to a curiosity of mine. And when you were able to recognize that, and if you did recognize it as growth, did you recognize it initially as a positive or a negative thing? Because oftentimes, and I'll preface it with this. And I'll talk about my personal journey or some of the growths, but at first I felt like I was leaving people
Hmm.
behind,
Oh yeah.
and it low key hurt a little bit. And it kind of had me in a tough spot where I was kind of hindering my own growth because I felt
Mm.
like I do acknowledge this, but also I don't want to acknowledge this, right? So for yourself, when you were on that path, like did you feel the transition, and if so, was it like a negative or positive thing?
It was a positive thing, man. Because like for me, I'm blessed to have good friends. So a lot of my friends that I was doing the music with, we're all still close, and they understand that, like, hey, we're all men, and we have to, you know, go our separate ways and do our own things, and then
Hmm.
come back together. So it was never a thing where anyone ever made me feel like I was leaving them behind. So that was never an issue, which I know it is for some people.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more just a thing of having the discipline to do it, and
Mm.
moving out of a comfort zone, and moving to somewhere where you have a small but a noticeable level of success, to going to somewhere where you have no success,
Wow.
to going from somewhere where it's like, oh, okay, that's the guy who could make some moves or make something happen, to going to being an intern
Mm.
is, it's
Yeah.
a gut check. It's like,
No.
dang, like I'm an intern,
Yeah.
like I'm used to having my own office, or
Yeah.
I'm
It's like,
used
hold
to,
on. What's this?
and
Yeah.
but when you have like that, I call it the student teacher mentality,
Yeah.
where it's like, I know a lot, so I'm gonna
Hmm.
share a lot. But it's like the wise man knows that he has a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm a sponge. I'm trying to soak up as much information and game as I can. And
Absolutely.
and when you operate with that mindset, I wasn't an intern for very long.
No, yeah, for sure,
You
for
know what I'm
sure.
saying?
And once again, we are live from the den,
Hey,
and
shout out to the den.
shout out to the den first and foremost. And live, we don't want to keep it real. And I got my baby boy in the studio with me. So, hey, Mr. Grayson, can you turn the iPad down just a little bit, baby? Thank you, thank you so much. We
Yeah,
back.
he doing this thing.
He doing this thing, and to no avail. I'm not even on it, but we want to make sure we all in cohesive motion right now. And
Right.
you wasn't an intern for long, because you understood the capabilities that you have, and also that has to be a growth mindset to know, like, all right, man, I'm here for now. I'm here right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I already know I'm gonna get it cracking. I'm gonna turn
Yeah.
it up, and I'm gonna get it going. For myself, similar ways I would always try to. So I would try to incorporate. I would say at the time where I wasn't even fully ready, and incorporate others that may have not gone or identified any growth aspects that they would like to go in that direction and try to incorporate that. And it was unsuccessful, you know what I'm saying, to say the least. And unsuccessful because we didn't have planning,
Yeah.
right? We didn't go through the emotions that I feel that are necessary for you to go through, or those attributes and those qualities that you must have and possess to even identify the growth and then go that way, right? And that's what you talked about: discipline,
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. Another one of the, I would say, the tools that I had was do what's required first, then act accordingly.
That's a big one.
You know what I'm saying? And we can break it down to its, let's say, you talked about being in position to provide for yourself, in position to take care of yourself
Right.
as a man. That's important, right? Some people still, I would say, priorities.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You got that's growth. When you understand this is required for me to be able to sustain myself in a certain way that I need to, right? I can't go to the club if it doesn't if it doesn't coincide with the plan. That's discipline.
Yeah.
Sticking to the structure and the confinements. Right now, I'm not supposed to eat out, so I'm not eating out. I'm cooking at the house because it's gonna save me $1,000 for my budgeting, right?
No, it's real. Like
Yeah.
one of my big sayings is whatever aspect of your life that you can't control will control you.
Whew. Say that again for the people, brother.
Whatever aspect in your life that you can't control will control you.
It's the truth.
Yeah, and like one of my close boys, he hit me. This is some years ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He hit me and was like, "Hey man, we're in the studio with YG, man. Like pull up, like you know what I'm saying. We doing this, working on a project." And I was just like, and I was like about to get dressed, and I was just like, "Well, how does that fit in my plan?" And my boy, he's to a level where he doesn't like need me there.
Yeah.
So like what value am I gonna bring to the atmosphere, and what value am I gonna get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
And the core of marketing is, if there's no value exchange, then it's bad business, and you don't do bad business. So I'm not gonna add any value. I'm not gonna gain any value. So I just told my boy, hey man, go on and handle that, man.
Yeah.
Let me know how it went, tomorrow.
And that's that maturity, right? That's
Yeah.
that sign of growth. That's that understanding. And then, like, I'm new to business relatively, and then really understanding the game of business, or just the practices and principles of business. And then that's an essential one: value exchange,
Man.
right? Because you don't want to waste time. That's something we don't get back.
Yeah. You
We
don't. Man.
we can't get that time back. And I would say, um, in my process of identifying growth, I was wasting time
Mm.
thinking that it was an asset that wasn't as valuable as it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, you think if you really do like an audit on yourself, and this is everybody that's listening right now, this is a cool activity. You do go back and do an audit on yourself and realize how much time you feel like you wasted. Right. And then that's the amount of time that you're supposed to time, and then time and multiply that times two. And that's how hard you're supposed to go for those things that no longer control you,
No, that's
and
real.
you control it.
Hey, so I was telling my little sister the other day, I was like,
Congratulations to your little sister as well.
oh man, yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yes,
just,
sir.
what I'm saying, it's a beautiful time when you can bring life. You know what I'm saying? You stepping into the uncle role.
Yeah, man.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. Congratulations to the to
Yeah.
the fam.
Shout out to Robin and DJ, man.
Yes, indeed.
They about to bring Deshaun the third
Oh man.
into this earth.
Beautiful. But you were talking to
Yeah.
your sister?
Yeah, so I was talking to my other little sister, and I was
Okay.
telling her, I was like, one thing that rich people do, they they take more time for themselves, and they work more hours.
Mm.
So they have more rest days, more vacation days, more time off, but they also work more hours.
Hmm.
And it's because they don't waste time. And so when you make time, and when you budget your time, and you're conscious of your time, you can work more than 40 hours a week and get more rest and more vacation than the average person when you mind your time.
Time budget It's so underestimated
No, for real.
and underappreciated.
And they got the apps in your phone too that tell you how long you've been on Brick Breaker, Instagram. Hey, it's some days I be scared to look. I be like, I ain't looking at that this week because
it's
this
it's
week.
it's real though. And even if you did it, without the apps, you know what I'm saying? You just like think about the first thing. Like when I realized the first thing I was doing when I wake up is looking at Instagram, bro. I was like, bro, you got a problem.
Yeah,
It's controlling you.
yeah,
And for you to have so many things that are untapped or not taken care of, you should throw this phone out the window if you're gonna be doing
man.
this.
Nah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's why I was talking about supervisor at work, and he was like, "Yeah, I be working. I be trying to put my phone in the other room, like, but then I be getting the text messages on my phone to log into certain stuff. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, damn it, I'm trying to leave that thing in the other room so I can get some work done.
It's so many different strategies that we can have or how that approach. What I do now, and if you have any tools or tidbits you want to drop, to the people that's listening, in the comments, I'm gonna check the comments. If you want to call in,
Oh, call
feel free to call in 323-900-0478. You can call us, ask questions, engage with us in this conversation. This amazing conversation that we having tonight. One of the strategies, I have a focus time. So in my focus time, whatever I say I'm gonna do for that hour, that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So like I come from like I identify in my family, we will worry a lot. We will
mm,
worry, or we be like the first thing that if something happened, the phone ring, we think something bad happening. And that
mm-hmm.
was like a learned thing. Like, man, it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
So I would always answer my phone, or I would jump to my phone thinking that it's something like that. I was like, you know what? I'm taking an hour. So if I say I'm gonna read for an hour, I'm gonna try my best to stay focused and lock in and read for that hour.
Mm,
If I need to take a break, take a breathing break, go back, recenter, refocus. But for that time blockers that I have, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And so it really built up a discipline. And it also helped me plan and be more strategic about what you just said.
yeah.
People in business that's focusing like that.
Man, consistency is key. It's so crazy. Okay, so like this word just hit my head. Like I read a lot,
Yeah.
and I need to read more books, but I typically read like little snippets, like articles and
Right.
journals, and from science to culture to politics. And so I'm always reading, but I do need to read more books though. That's something I gotta do. But it just hit me. I was like, yo, the word inertia,
Hmm.
and it's like a physics term,
Okay.
but I'm like, how does that apply to our lives? And so like, to paraphrase, the definition of inertia is
Please, because I thought I went to high school with her, but go ahead. She sound like her nurse. Nurse, here, please.
the homegirl inertia. No, but so inertia is like a property of matter
Hmm.
that matter will generally continue in the same path that it's continuing on unless it's been acted on by an outside force. And so, like, and then as you increase velocity,
Hmm.
it takes more force to move whatever that body is off of its intended path. So if you think about it, like if you think about like a little toy car, and it's going slow,
Hmm.
it's something that's small going slow,
Hmm.
you could kick it and it would turn the other way.
Right.
But when you get something that's bigger and bigger and bigger and going faster and faster and faster, you kick it, you're gonna mess around and hurt yourself. It's not
Absolutely.
gonna turn. So like,
Mm.
and that really applies to your planning, your strategy, you being consistent, and you building time behind whatever talent or skill or drive or whatever you feel like is how you're going to bring value to the community or to the market. And so value is a two-way street. So if you're bringing value with whatever your talent may be, you might be a nurse, you might be a singer, like you might be a trash man, you might be a truck driver. I,
Yeah.
I know brothers that's truck drivers that's making more money than some doctors. But whatever it is, and you're bringing value
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting compensated for that value, and you continue in it, and you stay consistent, like you said, with your plan, then you start to build up a bigger and bigger mass, a bigger and bigger velocity, and then that way, like, nothing can take you off that path.
brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because one thing I love about the den, like I said, we try to receive knowledge and we try to drop knowledge. You just drop some knowledge with inertia. You talk about a momentum thriving force that if you try to, if it's strong enough, like you said, it has enough momentum, you try to knock it off its course, it's going to knock you off your course.
Man,
That's the type of laser focus that is required most times when we're trying to accomplish and obtain what we're trying to obtain.
but it's so crazy because you see somebody like Kanye West or Elon Musk, and you see them, and it's like, well, they could do 10 things at once. It's like, yeah, they waited till they were billionaires.
Right.
When they weren't billionaires,
It was locked in on that one thing.
when they was millionaires, when they was when they had 10 million, 20, 30 million in the bank, they was just doing one thing. And then when they start to get to the hundreds of millions, then it's like, okay,
Man, you just gave me chills, bro.
then it's like, okay, now I got 100 million. Let me see about these shoes.
Let me
now.
let me go explore because I because that probably was in their focus and their goal. Kanye, like yourself in the room doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers. Are you doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers in your
No,
respective field? No, you're not.
most people aren't.
They're not.
They're not.
They're not.
You know. And
So
then, and it's like you see somebody like Lil Wayne, and it's like, well, man, he got lucky. He met Birdman when he was young, and you know, and it's like, yeah, he did meet Birdman when he was young.
he was
you
in
know?
that studio.
But he might have more songs recorded than any rapper in history.
Bro, Lil Wayne outworked everybody on Cash Money.
He outworked everyone in the game. Like if you told me to bet $1 million who has more songs recorded than Lil Wayne, I'd be scared to say Jay-Z or Pac because he might have more songs than Jay-Z or Pac.
Man, Wayne. First of all, I appreciate.
He probably does.
He do. He do. I would say that. I would definitely put my money towards Wayne and his consistency because he was doing this his fort. Not even the longevity, but the passion, and he was just banging them out.
And then when you look at that dedication, you mean to tell me if he wouldn't have met Birdman, that he just would have been just some with that drive that he had, it almost takes away from him to be like, if he wouldn't have met Birdman, he just would have been some regular dude.
Yeah, I mean, you can't discredit him that way. And that's we will pick that up, that conversation right there in the second half of the show. Definitely get into the comments. I don't even want to get into them right now. Sean, I'm gonna read your comment after the commercial break because it's that important to me. And I appreciate you engaging and locking into this conversation tonight. But I want to just hold here, remembering Lil Wayne, Weezy, and then I want to talk about Kobe too, and this idea of acknowledging the shift and the growth. And let's keep with that theme, inertia.
All right, let's get it.
We'll be back.
Purina One has the inside story.
Mic's off.
All right, y'all. We back. We back. We back.
Hey,
I hope I ain't get fired. Live from the dead. I hope I ain't get fired, man.
we good. We
Oh,
good.
no, we solid, bro. I just wanted to definitely acknowledge the fact that I was trying to get the commercials in, but we'll double back on it, man. Everybody that's tuning in, I definitely appreciate y'all. Live from the dead. And we're talking about tonight acknowledging growth, acknowledging and identifying growth, areas of growth and a shift in your life. And then that just leads to other conversations, other practices and modalities that some can take with them to have that laser focus that'll help you just add attributes in your life that'll produce productivity. And Bobby, I guess on our show tonight, talked about this phrase and this term called inertia. And if you could break it down one more time for him, please.
Okay, so to paraphrase, inertia is the property of matter that once it's going in a certain direction, it will continue in that direction until it's acted on by outside force. But as the mass and or velocity increases, it takes a bigger force to knock it off its course. So once you start at something at the beginning and you put that time and effort behind it, right, the mass grows, the velocity grows. So it's almost like going from a baseball, right, and then as you put them days, weeks, months, years behind it, it
Mhm.
turns into a train
Mm.
to where like nothing can stop it. So yeah,
And from that example or that paraphrase of that terminology, we talked about Kanye, we talked about Lil Wayne. We use these people as examples of focusing so much on one thing
yeah.
and then allowing it to pick up momentum, and where it's a force to be reckoned with.
It's a force, and then it's like then with that force, you get the freedom because it's like
Mm.
once you become stable, and man, it's deep,
No,
bro.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
well, what I was gonna say is like with a business, you have your fixed costs and your variable costs. Like the fixed cost is what keeps the lights on, right? So it's like your lease on your land, your lease on your machinery, your electricity bills,
Hmm.
like whatever it is, to keep the business running. But the variable costs are like whatever the product you're producing,
Hmm.
what the terms for those raw materials cost, right? So um it's like once you are building up to a certain level and you're already covering all your fixed costs, then that's where the explosive growth comes from. But you gotta get your bases covered. Like people they want to expand and explore new opportunities and new things before it's like, brother, like you paid your car note late last month.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you gotta crawl before you walk.
Absolutely.
And so people see these examples and they see like Little Wayne and like the Jay-Z's or Elon Musk or whoever. And it's like, well, if he can do five things, I could do five things. But it's like, but if you go back to the story, nine
Mm.
times out of 10, when they were in your position, they did one thing
One
and they
thing.
did one thing well until that one thing covered all of their living expenses. And then you start to branch out and explore. And it's crazy,
Because by
man.
that time you developed you had so much practice at this one thing that is successful, and then it started to cover, right?
Yeah.
That phrase, cliche, cover your bases. You want to cover your bases, right? Cliche as it may
The
sound, that's what
cliche.
you want to do. And so within those confinements, right? So we think about we stay on this analogy, this object picking up momentum. So you meet this object now at its force, at
Yeah.
its apex. You don't understand the travel time and what it was going through during that
What it
time,
took to get
what it
there.
took to get there. You just only are you're in awe by meeting this thing now. But at this point, it's gonna knock you out the way, and understandably, but you
Man.
won't even understand why it's knocking you out the way.
The perfect example is a train. When trains start, they start slow. They start very slow.
Chicka 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 chicka.
Man.
It reminds me of one of my favorite movies. Major Payne. You want to hear a little story about the little engine that could? You know? But the concept is start slow to go slow to go fast.
For real.
Go slow to go
And,
fast.
and you said the cliches, it hit me one day. I'm like, dang, all the cliches are right. The tortoise, the tortoise beats the hare. The early bird gets the worm. Like,
Man, they ain't saying these analogies for nothing.
not for real.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how many we come up with, or the ones that are withstanding, they withstood because they're facts.
Yeah.
They're true. They're true to its essence of what it's trying to explain to you, and keeping this theme of identifying growth. If you hear these stories and you hear these analogies, I think when you're able to identify what they truly mean is because you went through a process and a growth process to even for it to register and click in your brain, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is what it means when a tortoise beats the hare. Because the hare was bullshitting.
He was bullshitting.
And the tortoise stayed the course the whole time. No matter how he didn't worry about the hare going around. Oh, let me go talk to her. Let me go get carrot over here. Let me go do this. I know because I know I have the ability to beat this tortoise.
Man.
Tortoise, like, for sure. Run it up.
That story is the biggest lesson for small business owners. Because even though I took the career path, I'm all about entrepreneurship and ownership, especially in our community.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of people look at entrepreneurship and owning a business as a bypass to not having accountability, and not all, but some.
You said a lot.
No, but some,
and I agree.
And it's like, so, well, I ain't doing no school system. I'm not working for no job. I'm not slaving. Like somebody told me, it was like, man, you need to go on your own. You over there slaving for the job. I was like, slave, like slave. I was like, bro, like,
you know what's funny, man?
Like, bro, I might go 2 weeks without talking to my boss.
Like, listen, people don't understand the intricacies of certain things, right?
Yeah.
And it's so hard to, like, we don't maybe have time to break it down. Real quick, I want to go and I want to definitely hold on to this conversation. Go into the chat. Sean 731. That's her birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday, Sean.
No, 731 is her birthday, but happy early birthday.
Oh.
Her comment reads, and I love the focus feature on the iPhone. It will automatically block whatever features you select, and it lets people know your phone is on focus mode in case they want to try and reach out. I didn't know that it notified. And actually, I'm at the point where I don't even give a damn if you get the notification or not, but that's actually great to know.
I need to use that feature.
Yeah.
I need to use that, man, because, man, sometimes, I mean, your phone, man, it's like a gift and a curse, So sometimes you got to put it under control, man.
It's as much as we are introduced to technology, as much discipline that we need to acquire in order to know how to balance certain things. And I'm not even using technology. I want to go back to with the comment you said when it comes to small businesses, and this is true for me in my conversations that I had with people at a level when I first started business, because I was starting out myself.
Mm-hmm.
I started off fast, got the momentum. I'm touching my basics. Then you're gonna burn out quickly because all the intangibles you need to develop and be good at, you're not acquiring them, or you're not appreciating them, or you're not feeling that grind. It got to be something that you feel. You got to appreciate it, and then you can cover those bases. But then you'll know how to. So I would say for those that you've had conversations with, I had conversation with, I'll be laughing. Like, I recently got into grad school, and that was a part of my plan.
Congrats.
I appreciate it. Let me give myself a but that was a part of my plan, because it's like I want to get into a higher tax bracket, but I know still I want to go out and I got to be able to fund this thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm passionate about what I'm doing too. Oh, this is it's a double up. It's a double up for me. Right. But it's strategy now. It's planning now. And so those earlier conversations, people like, yeah, we want to work for the white man. And it's like, would you ain't want to work for yourself? You want to say you just want to say you have a business. It's not generating nothing. Hey, I know how hard it was to cover my bases.
For everyone who says, I don't want to work for the white man, to bring it back to the good brother Kanye West. Drug dealer by Jordans.
Crackhead by crack. And the white man get paid off of all of that.
So if you're in this economic system, it don't matter. Like, the money's coming from somewhere else, and the money came from whoever gave you the money. It came from somewhere else. It's coming from the same system, and that's neither good nor bad. It just is. Mm-hmm. So we kind of got to get over that, where it's like, can't nobody tell me nothing. Somebody's gonna tell you something, unless you living in a forest and you eating squirrels and foraging. Somebody
Somebody's
is
going.
telling you nothing. Like, you're the president of the United States.
Somebody gonna
Somebody
tell you
is
something.
telling you something. You can't just
That's a
do.
conglomerate. That ain't just you.
You can't do whatever you want to do in this world, like, and so even back in the day with the kings and the queens, you get two out of line, your uncle, your cousin, your brother, somebody gonna stab you in the back,
Man,
and
everybody needs accountability.
that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing
That's a
at
good
all.
thing.
And I would say sometimes we get caught up in the fact that we don't want to tell us what to do because of this a surgence of like new business or new uprising and yes sir.
Okay, can I say something?
Yo, absolutely.
So you said you don't want people to tell you nothing, and this was like my introduction when I was like working at that intern job,
Mhm.
and it's like you put your work out there, and then you have somebody like, hey Danny, this is good, but you should actually do this. Like, that hurts, because
Mhm.
like you use your time, your intellect, your experiences to create this, and I'm just gonna come up and tell you how to make it better. But it was told to me that, like, hey, once you hand something over, to your group or your collective, or whether it's a business, a job, whether it's school, once you hand something over to be proofread or looked over, you gotta divorce yourself from it.
Brother, you have to.
Yeah, and so the thing is that, like, they're not taking you down, like, they're building you up.
That part right there, man. And that applies on what you could take the smallest thing that you may be thinking of and apply that method to that.
Mm-hmm.
In my progress of writing my sample for grad school, I had to run it through about 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to my lady. She's one of my biggest and best critics because it's to grow me.
Yeah.
And so we were going, like, she was like one of the final two to look it over. And she making all these corrections. She's irritating the shit out of me. I'm like, hey, man.
Ain't that many
Hey,
corrections?
put the red pen down. What are you doing?
It might be two.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you two corrections max.
I had to leave the room and let her do what she do because I was too attached to that.
Yeah.
But I realized though, once I put that out there, it's like it's not on. I put it out there for that, and that's growth. That's identifying growth because you have to have constructive criticism. That's the only way you're gonna grow.
And what the cool thing is, me like working in marketing, there's so much writing. I mean, probably if you're in marketing, even if you're not in a writing heavy area, you, your job is 30 to 90% writing in marketing, right? So when you see people who are like, hey, could you proofread this for me?
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, I changed one thing. They be like, hey, bro, like, come on, man. I need you to proofread it for real. Like, it's like I read your work. I need you to tear into it. Like, I need you to help. I need you to help
Give me some effort.
And when it's coming from someone you respect, maybe it might be like a supervisor or a colleague or the owner, where it's like, no, bro, I need you to tear this shit down
Absolutely.
and build it back up, because I can't get to the level on my own, and you can't get to the level on my own. To get up here, one of us needs to give it a first go, and the other needs to come and tear it down and build it back up. And then when you did that, I'm gonna come back. And so that applies to everything, not just writing, but for your business plan,
Absolutely.
your t-shirt design, whether it's your music. It's like one of my closest friends, man. I mean, the studios he's been in with some of the greats,
Top notch, yeah.
And he would come and drop a song, and he would come to me and my brother and be like, what y'all think? And my brother was cold, bro. He'd just be like, hey, bro, it's hot, but you gotta change this.
Right.
And he'd be like, I'm a better rapper than you. How are you gonna tell me to change this much when I'm better than you? But he would, all right, appreciate that, dog. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
But then take the constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, you better than me, but with my criticism, you're gonna be better than you.
Absolutely. And then even it's growth there because you got to be able to identify what criticism that you take and you make applicable to the things that you want to make.
And it's when it's coming from a good place, you gotta
Absolutely.
accept it,
You
man.
you should accept it.
You have to, because I see so many people on this small business thing. It's like, can't nobody tell me nothing, and it's like, yeah, I'm about to, do this, and the business idea is not. There's no exchange in value,
Yeah.
and it's just like, bro, this is just your hobby, and you don't want to go to work tomorrow,
Nah.
and it's just like, but how do you tell someone when they got the blinders on when they're starting this business just because they don't got to go to work, and it's like the market is not asking for this.
You know how you tell someone when they try to what phrase we used earlier, when they try to not get situated, um sheesh, basically when they try to when their business is just going under
Mm-hmm.
and and the value of their merchandise isn't outselling what it is for them to sustain.
Man,
That's how you you know what I'm saying, it'll let you know the
man,
work will show.
I got the
It will
coldest,
show up.
the coldest example of that.
Please.
So one of my professors, man, when I was getting my marketing degree, he was like, I do some consulting on the side because a lot of marketing professors do that,
Absolutely.
and so they got other jobs, businesses, other things. So he's like, one of my friends hit me up and was like, I started an oil change business in Orange County, in an affluent area, South Orange County. He's like, I picked the perfect spot. The marketing is right. I hired all the right guys, got all the equipment. It's like we're packed from when we open to when we close. The grand opening was amazing. And he's like, but the numbers just look a little funny.
Mm,
He was like, like, I mean, we're busy. I mean, we'd be turning people away. Like, but the numbers are a little funny. Could you look at my books?
yeah.
So he looked at the books and he just went to strictly like, okay, the lease is this, the lease on your equipment is this, salary is this, all your bills. And then he went and was like, okay, you have this many workspaces in your garage.
Hmm.
So these are your operating hours. This is a maximum that you can earn a month. Your bills are slightly higher.
Oh,
And he was just like, I have bad news, man. Like you didn't run the numbers before you started.
oh.
And he's just like, this business is unprofitable.
Mm.
Like you needed one more garage bay, or you needed something,
To
you
be
know,
able to,
because he's like, because you're priced right at the sweet spot. If you can't overprice it because it's a oil
right.
change. We're not talking about like designer shoes or
Hmm.
or paintings. You can't overprice it. And so he was just like, I'm sorry, man, but like you have to close the business immediately, or you're gonna lose all your savings. And he's like, no, 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 I'm gonna figure this out. And he kept running the business until he burned all the money out. And like that's the unfortunate truth, is that like the numbers don't lie. And if you go on your own, you have to be proficient in other areas that might not be your hobby,
Right.
or might not be your expertise.
Man, that is first. Oh man, that sucks. First and foremost, to I would know to be positioned with that, and I would say what we talked about earlier. He didn't divorce that thing.
No,
He was so tied into it. And I understand that's business. That's you got a salary, you got payroll, you got people. But that was some advice that you probably should
he
have.
should have asked the guy before the grand open.
That's 100%.
Like, you know what I mean? And then
100%.
when he told him, like, hey, you need to shut down, you need to shut down now,
Yeah,
because you got workers who got families,
absolutely.
and they don't know that they work for a business that is
About the
that's unprofitable,
hmm.
that can't become financially stable.
Wow.
And so it's like, dude, this is bigger than you. And so that's what the whole thing, like divorcing yourself from it. And I think like when you really just look into yourself and treat yourself and what you do as a business, I think that's where a lot of my successes came from, is
Yeah.
treating my career like a business.
Yeah.
So when I do stuff, it's intentional. When I go into a job interview,
Hmm.
when I do my resume, like it's with an intention. And so instead of me selling a product, like I'm the product, but when you go into business and you don't have that mindset and you're just doing something like, oh, I'm gonna get a job. Oh, you know what? I'm good at cooking, or
Yeah.
I'm good at this. And so you don't have that full scope. It's like maybe you should consider having a job.
No,
And there's nothing wrong with that
not at all.
because that's where most millionaires come from.
Listen, there's it's a few ways to make money. You can earn it, you can take it, or you can inherit it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the conversations that we're having with people, they're not inheriting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to take anything because you don't want to take nothing from nobody.
Yeah.
You have to earn it. And so when you talk about being in business and you starting from basically zero or probably negative deficit, you got to identify that. You got to have a source that's going to be an earner to be able to then make a strategic move on operating a business.
Yeah.
Because then you got to have the time to figure out the confinements of those things,
Right.
and then the inner workings, and then if you need to leverage constructive criticism from someone, or
Um,
it gets intricate like that.
and then it's crazy too because when you look at the people who are at the pinnacle of their industries, but whether it's music, fashion,
Hmm.
law, whether it's corporate, healthcare, anything, they got advisors, consultants, they got
They got
managers,
a team.
they have a team. Like they listen to all kind of smart people, and then you have your pride so invested in it's like, okay, well, I'm over here, um, you know, I'm designing a clothing line. We got some t-shirts and hoodies, and look, Danny, I just need you to buy 20 of them.
Mm.
I don't want to hear your opinion. I just need you to buy 20, and I need your friend to buy 20. I need your girl to buy 20. And it's like,
25.
but it's like, wait a minute, bro. Like if your business fails because your family and friends didn't support you, that's a lesson.
It is. And I don't like to generalize a lot, but this conversation is sounding like, conversations that I've had before.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us don't be wanting to hear that. And then a lot of people equate constructive criticism, or like you get to a point where you've got to a growth aspect in your life and you picked up some knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, hey, prior to this, I didn't know this. You know, I was trying to ascertain these things. Once I made privy, now I can offer this. But if you offer it, you can be honest. Like, hey, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, what? It's even hard and tough to offer certain things in certain spaces, especially coming from someone you were familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you may have held them to the level of what you're used to operating with them,
Yeah.
instead of being able to recognize, like, okay, I understood they was right here, and at a point I could knock them off of their focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they've been going so long now,
That inertia.
that inertia, bruh. They've been going so long now, but I can't even identify the new momentum that they picked up. So when I go try to holler at them, now that I've in these bing, that friction, I feel like I'm getting kicked off or knocked away. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with you. It's just them identifying the focus. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like I'm at a place of I picked up my momentum. I tried to offer those constructive criticisms and those things that'll help grow. But it's points where if we haven't grown, we'll look at it and identify that as being a hater, or like, man, oh, you always critiquing something, or you always got something to say. Well, I should have something to say
Yeah.
that's going to positively help you, hopefully.
Yeah, not for real, because that's what business is built on, man. It's like, hey, what do you think about this? And when you see people in the highest levels, they're the most vulnerable,
Hmm.
and because they're trying to learn, and it's like, nah, teach me.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? And like that comes with like that student teacher mentality, where it's like if you know everything, you don't know nothing. You know?
And you have to have the student teacher mentality. I really come from a family. I got one of my favorite cousins, man. I always take him some stuff because I know he go he gonna give it to me in a way of like it's so funny. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm coming up with this design for the follow through, or I'm coming up with this. How this look? He like, oh, this actually cool. We're like, hey, that looks stupid, bro. Like, but I'm able like our cohesiveness. I'm able to identify like he's really trying to give me constructive criticism. You know what I mean?
But peep though, because he was like, "That's fire, that's stupid." But the thing is like a lot of times when our business revolves around a passion project, that's also another reason why I kind of want to do like the corporate career thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make money off my passions.
Right.
And so when you make money off your passions, it's like, are you creating for the market or are you creating for you? And so if I come up with a shirt, I'm gonna think that it's fire. That don't mean that you gonna
Everybody
wear
else gonna
it.
think it's fire. Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So, it's like, what are you thinking? Like, hey, is this a good shirt for me, or is this a good shirt for
For
me?
what I'm trying to
For
market
me
to.
to invest in
Mm.
and take money out of my bank account, take money away from my bills or my family and put it into, because that's two totally different things.
Yeah.
Because I might wear something and you be like, hey, that's fresh, bruh. And like, you want to buy one? Hell no.
No, that ain't my style. One of my favorite shows now, and I always go back and watch the episodes. I really like Shark Tank, bro.
Oh yeah.
Shark Tank, because if we take the same
Shout out to my man Joe Lemon from the Giants. Then was just on Shark Tank.
oh my gosh, shout out to Joe Lemon.
Yeah, man.
A shark in his own right.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? And really taking these and you know, I was lucky scared to have an idea pitch it to the sharks, because it's really out there. Like when you marry yourself to something or idea, and then somebody be like, nah, it can be very, very disappointing for that. But man, we gonna wrap this thing up. Bobby, I appreciate you for being on Live from the Den tonight. Real quick, if you're listening, Live from the Den, Mondays, we'll be changing to Wednesday nights at 7:30
Okay.
with Mr. Devontae Green. That'll be Live from the Den Wednesday nights. Watch out for the shift. Same great conversations, lovely people. And we're going to be in here doing this thing, dropping some tools. Real quick, identify your growth, identify the shift, inertia, take that momentum and that focus and thrive. Appreciate you for having me, Bobby.
Hey, thanks for having me.